Before I continue with the part 3 of this video, I want us to understand the reason I'm going through details with explanation of the role of the throne of David in the gospel of the kingdom. Now, understand this. Every proverbs and mysterious tales that Jesus Christ used to explain the mysteries of the kingdom of God to the people were all events happening in the life of the children of Israel in the past, before Jesus came, and after Jesus. And these mysteries are events happening in the life of the children of Israel, which are revealed in Old Testament and in New Testament and even outside the Bible's context. And history bear witness of all these things. But the problem is, majority of us Christians who think we are more spiritual think we don't need history to understand the scriptures. Eventually, when someone comes to them and asks them to explain the mysteries of the kingdom of God, which are revealed in the parables of Jesus Christ, they will end up telling you, it is only parable. Wow! Do you mean someone saying something in parable is saying nonsense? Jesus Christ used parable to explain things that are happening and things to come, so that see they will see and will not perceive, hear and will not understand. But to them whom he has called, whom he has chosen to preach the kingdom in truth and in spirit, the Bible said that the mysteries of the kingdom of God is given to you. To the people, they are all parable, but to the chosen, who are chosen for the preaching of the kingdom, who shall preach the gospel in spirit and in truth, who are not after material gain, but after the knowledge of Christ, they are plain word. For the one who speaks parable knows what he's talking about, and the Bible said that we have the mind of Christ. And all these mysteries and events are not only pointing towards the children of Israel, which are in Palestine alone, but also towards children of Israel, which are scattered all over the world. And some of these events are revealed in the parables of Jesus Christ, like the mystery of the prodigal son, the mystery of a man with two sons who sent his sons to go and work in his vineyard, and the mysteries revealed in Zerah and his twin brother, Pharez. To the Jews who are rebellious, who do not accept the gospel, that seeing they will see and will not perceive, hearing they will hear and will not understand. But to those who are obedient unto Christ, who are called and chosen for the preaching of the kingdom of God in spirit and in truth, the Bible says that the mysteries of the kingdom of God, the mysteries of the knowledge of the kingdom of God is given to them, not to others. Therefore ask, it shall be given to you. Seek, you shall find. Knock, the door of the knowledge will be opened unto you. But you are only asking for material gain. That is why you don't know them. That is why when people ask you about all these mysteries and the knowledge of the kingdom of God revealed in the proverbs of Jesus Christ, you say it is only proverb. One that is saying proverb, is he saying nonsense? He is saying something. The union of Tephi and Ekaid did not only establish a new dynasty over Israelite Ireland, it also resolved the ancient breach or division in the tribal family of Judah. This breach that took place shortly before Jacob relocated his family to Egypt resulted from the unusual circumstances surrounding the birth of Judah's and Tamar's twins, Pharez and Zerah. According to the book of Genesis 38, when the time came for Tamar to give birth, her midwife discovered that she was carrying twins. Surprisingly, one of the infants put forth his hand, to which the midwife promptly tied a red string. That is to say, this one came first, assuming that it would be born first. The midwife was simply trying to keep track of which baby was the firstborn. To this unexpected turn of events, as the child withdrew his hand, and the other baby was born first, the midwife declared, "What a breach have you made for yourself, or this breach be upon you." Genesis chapter 38, verse 29. Fittingly, this male child was named Pharez, meaning breach. Then his twin brother, who put forth his hand, was named Zerah, a name that suggests he came first. You might be wondering why this story is included in the scriptures, for this breach was never again mentioned. What purpose could there be for this remarkable event? When you look at these stories very well, you will come to realize that in them depicts the mystery of the kingdom of God. For everything that Jesus Christ taught in parable concerning the kingdom of God, we are all revealed in the kingdoms of Israel. Now look at the birth scenario. Zerah was like one that put forth his hand to take kingdom for himself and return the birthright. And Pharez's brother will come to reign before him, who reigned as Pharez Judah line on the throne of David when Zerah was abased. But when God will overturn the throne of David, according to the book of Ezekiel, Pharez Judah line will now be overthrown. They will be abased. Then the throne of David will be taken away from them, as it is written, "Remove the real diadem from the head of the corrupt prince. Then shall the kingdom be replanted on another high mountain of Israel, which shall not be the mountain of Zerah in the British Isles. Pharez, which had been exalted, will now be abased. Then Zerah, which had been abased, will now be exalted on the throne of David. Now, do you see how one put forth his hand and took kingdom for himself and returned, leaving his brother to come and reign first, that afterward he will come and reign? Does this in any way sound like the parable of Jesus Christ, which say, first shall be last, and last first? The kingdom of God is like a nobleman who went into a far country and took kingdom for himself and returned, calling his 10 servants and said to them, occupy till I come. Who are the 10 servants? The 10 servants are the 10 lost tribes of the kingdom of Israel, which scattered all over the world, who is now exalted. They are the same people that preach the kingdom of God to the whole world. The exalted Zerah Judah line is now reigning king over them in the British Isle. From them also will now go forth the gospel to the whole world. Now back to Egypt. The unusual circumstances surrounding the birth of the twins undoubtedly caused some controversy among the children of Israel to which of the child was truly the firstborn. Now at stake is the right of the firstborn, a prominent aspect of Hebrew culture. The twins were born a short time prior to Jacob relocating his family to Egypt. Once in Egypt, it would be another 17 years or so before Jacob would give his prophecy of Genesis 49. So when the boys were born, it was not yet known that Judah's offspring would inherit rights of royalty. Genesis 49:10. Because of this unique inheritance, the rights of royal lineage, the Perez-Zerah controversy became paramount. While biblical account of Judah's genealogy lists Perez first, the fact that Perez was blamed for and even named for. This breach implies the development of a significant brotherly rivalry. There is no doubt that Zerah and his subsequent Zerah line believed that they had been deprived of the firstborn position and the right to rule over Israel. Then, this family breach would be resolved through the marriage of Ekaid, who comes from Zerah lineage, and Tephi, who was of Perez lineage. For furtherance, much is implied in this ominous statement. Joseph and the Israelites were held in high regard. After all, they had been given the most fertile region of the Nile Delta. Accordingly, we must not imagine that with Joseph passing, there was a sudden end to the substantial Israelite influence in the land. The question is, who ruled as governor in Egypt after Joseph's death? Since all Israel understood that the scepter belonged to the tribe of Judah, we can make the assumption that the descendants of Judah not only ruled over Israel while in Egypt, but likely served as governors under Pharaoh. But who, specifically, ruled in place of Joseph? And how long did this unique political arrangement continue? Well, we read from the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 2, verse 5, that Perez had 2 sons, Hezron and Hamor. Other than appearing in genealogical listening, nothing noteworthy is ever said about either son. Since Perez was the accepted firstborn of Judah, we might assume that his sons ruled in place of Joseph, but perhaps not. We also read in verse 6 that Zerah had 5 sons, and 3 of them were noteworthy: Heman, Dara, and Calcol. In 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 31, Solomon's extraordinary wisdom is compared with the wisdom demonstrated by other celebrated leaders, Chakol, Hammon, and Dada. It is generally accepted that Chakol is a later variation of Calcol, and that Dada is a later variation of Dara. But why would Solomon be compared to these 3 Zerahs, who predated him by centuries? Why would they be noted for great wisdom, unless they, like Solomon, were great leaders, perhaps governors in their own day? If so, when did these sons of Zerah rule? Could it be they ruled as governors in place of Joseph over Israelites and perhaps Egypt? So the ultimate collapse of the Zerahite rule in Egypt is suggested in the simple statement found in the book of Exodus 1:8. Soon the Israelites were no longer welcome in Egypt, and were no doubt greatly persecuted. And as we know from the scriptures, this eventually led to slavery. As circumstances went from bad to worse, it appeared that the wealthy and powerful Israelites fled Egypt by ship. Given the facts of the Danites' later proclivity for seamanship, it is likely that they were already exploring the Mediterranean. The ruling aristocratic Zerahites would have also left Egypt before the situation reached its crisis point. Then, the unprivileged masses were left behind to go into slavery and ultimately be delivered under Moses. Later in the Promised Land, the Perez line would inherit the throne over the kingdom of Israel, starting with King David. Of course, there is another possibility that Perez line might actually have ruled in Egypt, which caused the Zarites to abandon Egypt by ship. While all this may sound a bit too speculative, history does support this scenario. For example, the Greek historian Diodorus Siculus, c. 80 to 20 BC, tells of several Israelites from Egypt at this very time, most notably into Greek, under two key Israelite leaders, Danaus and Cadmus. Quoting Diodorus was right that the Egyptians claim that a large number of colonies were spread from Egypt all over the inhabited world, and that exiles led by Danaus settled what is practically the oldest city of Greece, Argos, known originally as Danaidi. Ancient Greek literature refers to these Egyptian pioneers as Danan, Danadi, or Danai, noting that they spread throughout much of what we know today as Greece, reaching as far as Macedonia, which retains Dan's name. Now, have you understand the reason the gospel we are hearing today was first sent to the people scattered in those areas, and was even translated first in their own language, the Greek language? These were places where the children of Israel scattered, and some other places all over the world. Now you can see very clearly and understand the instruction Jesus gave to his apostles when he said, "Do not go to the ways of the Gentiles, but go first to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and deliver the kingdom message to them first." You will also see in another parable when he said, "It is not right to take the children's meat and give to the dog. Let the children eat first," showing that the gospel of the kingdom must get to the lost sheep of the house of Israel first, before the whole world will receive it. What is the reason for this? Number one reason is this: the house of Israel was called and chosen by God to preach the kingdom of God to the whole world. This is where you hear the word chosen. They are chosen to preach the kingdom of God to the whole world, to bring the whole world back to God, when the world was lost from God. The second reason the gospel mustn't get to the hand of Gentiles first, before those who would preach the gospel, is because of what is written: "Do not give what is holy to the dogs, neither throw your pears to the pigs, else they will trample it underfoot and turn to tear you into pieces." And that was fulfilled when the gospel got into the hand of Rome. They trampled the truth underfoot and turned to the apostles and destroyed them, tear them into pieces, and polluted the gospel with images and disobeyed every commandment of the Lord and spread lie to the whole world. So Danans was obviously from the tribe of Dan. Then other Danites went into slavery in Egypt. Later, under Moses and Joshua, these Danites were not surprisingly given a coastal territory in Palestine, favoring their love of sea travel. At some point, perhaps before Solomon's time, Ireland was settled by some of these Greek Israelites known as Tuatha De Danann, the tribe of Dan whose ancestors fled Egypt. But what became of the royal Zerites who abandoned Egypt? See you on the next video.